It's in there somewhere.
All right, you start whenever.
Start from the beginning?
Yeah, start from the beginning.
Okay. Dad and I met each other in 1973 in Seattle at Seattle Bible Training School, not Seattle Bridal Training School, which everybody called it.
Nice.
We were married in June 1st of 1974 in Swan Lake, Montana, at the bar that David's dad owned, turned into a church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was repurposed. And then we moved to the East Lakeshore and lived in a little pink trailer on the opposite side of the hill from the garbage dump. And every night we had to get the vacuum out. When the flies went to the ceiling, we'd
Vacuum
vacuum the flies off the roof.
Oh my.
Why were there so many flies?
Little dump.
It was next to the dump.
Okay.
And in that same trailer park, that same year, that first summer, every night about 9 o'clock it would thunderstorm and beat the heat down. Which was good because there was no air conditioner or anything back then. But we'd sit out on the porch in the rain until it stopped, because it only rained like a half an hour, 45 minutes, and then it was cool. And that was the same trailer that we were invaded by the bats.
Bats?
Bats.
I don't think I ever heard that story.
Yeah, we were asleep, and Papa saw the bat. There was 2 of them, and he had to get the canoe paddle out from underneath the bed and smack the bats.
Oh my goodness.
And after he picked them up, I didn't know what he did with it. You know, I was kind of hiding under the blankies. He hung them by their little feeties on the screen door. So in the morning when we opened the door, here's the 2 little bats that had been dispatched on the door.
Okay then.
Yeah, it was a thing. And then we lived there for a bit. The trailer was tiny. And so we moved to a white trailer that was bigger, like the 14 by 70 kind of trailer. Because the other one was like 10 by something. And so we lived down the lake shore a little longer. And then we moved over to Grandma and Grandpa's old house on the other side from Woods Bay Market.
Is that where you guys lived when I was born, or was that later?
No, that was later.
I was in that house.
You were in that house, but I don't remember exactly when. Sometime soon, but you weren't walking yet, because that house had wood heat in the basement that came up through a floor grate that got real hot. And it wouldn't have been... It was later, because Adrian was in that house. Because in that house, she was the bathwater robber. We had a clawfoot bathtub, and if we turned the bathtub on to fill it up, you'd hear smash.
Woods Bay Market.
Yeah.
And that was before me.
That was before you. And then we moved to a house that we was kind of like a caretaking down on the lakeshore. It was a cherry orchard. And we, for watching the orchard for the winter, we got to stay in the house.
What are you watching an orchard in the winter?
Just make sure nothing freezes solid.
More property, not the trees.
Property management, yeah. And we stayed there for a winter. It just had wood heat, didn't have electric. We survived. It
There
was
was no electricity or not electric heat.
not heat. There was only wood heat. Just we had power, but not. Yeah, it was a little chilly. And after that, that was the winter. Papa was out of work, and we went. He got $32 a week unemployment. 2 paid our car payment, 1 paid our electricity, and 1 paid whatever else.
Right.
And at the end of the winter, somebody said, well, why don't you go get food stamps? I mean, we didn't know. And so we said, well, okay. So we drove down to Lake County and said, we don't know about this. What do we do? And we got like $185 in food stamps. For us, that was like huge money. Huge money. And because before that, we had a box of apples, a roadkill deer, and a 100-pound sack of potatoes. That was our winter food. I can make potatoes 942 ways.
Yes.
That's why you made rice so often when I was a kid.
Yeah, we kind of went away from potatoes for a while. But yeah. And the only reason we had the roadkill deer is because the game warden was a friend of Dad's, and she came across it right when it happened, so she cleaned it and brought it before it ever even froze. I mean, it was like in our house before then.
Wow.
So it's nice to have friends and
Yeah.
those kind of places. So then, once that was over, we moved to Bisco tasting. No, we moved to Canada. Where did we move in Canada? It was by Lethbridge, but it wasn't in town. It was a little town. Dad got it. Dad's parents were associated with the Mormon Church. And the president of the Mormon Church in Big Fork was an iron worker. And he was going to Canada to build a fertilizer plant. So he took Dad, and I went too, to Canada, and Dad became an iron worker.
I never knew how you guys got there.
He never had done it before. Not sure exactly how the story worked, but he made it through the union and became a union iron worker. And so we worked up there until Dad was on the ground one day and somebody from 5 stories up dropped a 2x4 on his head. It fell off the building.
Mm-hmm.
He had his hard hat on, so it saved him. But whenever the company brought someone home was not a good thing. And they brought him home. And that was when we decided maybe not a good idea. So we moved back to the States. That and being an American in Canada got a little dicey. I couldn't work because I couldn't get a visa because you have to have a skill that a Canadian doesn't have.
Oh, okay.
And he could because he was an iron worker. But yeah, so long story. But anyway, so Dad's got a Social Security card in Canada if he should ever have to go there again.
Might come in handy.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. So then we moved back. And I can't remember exactly what we did. It gets a little dicey in that area, you know.
Let's see, that would have been 76.
A little, yeah, because that was just about your time. So we're coming into 76, 77 in that time frame. And Dad had Aaron Auto for a while.
That was after
He worked for GNR Volkswagen for a
That
while.
was before me.
Yeah, I mean, that's right in there. He was doing mechanic stuff. And it was before he found out he has an extra vertebrae in his lower back. And so bending over the car really hurt. And he had to have treatment on his back and stuff. And he went to school then at Flathead Valley Community College for like the beginning of social services. And so he went to school for a while. And
So he was kind of starting on that counseling path way back then.
way back then, because he knew he had to do something different than the mechanics because he just couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I worry about Isaac doing mechanics, because there are certain things, if your body doesn't want you to do it, you can't do it. So he did that. And, God, kind of did jobs. We lived when we moved to town, we lived on 3rd Ave. About that time, I got a job at the phone. Well, I started with Peter Pisk, the Polish chiropractor who swore his patients in Polish. It was unique and interesting. I could always tell when he was mad because he had a different tone. He was saying that you're a stupid idiot in Polish, and I went there basically because his wife wanted the summer off.
Oh,
It was
okay.
just, I took the job for the summer just 'cause. Well, what happened was his daughter worked at the phone company. Well, there was a strike at the phone company, and she walked out. I mean, they all walked out. And Peter Pisk, the chiropractor, said, you should probably go down and apply. So this is dead of winter, and in a walkout.
Mm-hmm.
And so I became a union breaker person, and they threw water on you when you walked. I mean, it was a strike, but that's,
That would have had to have been winter of 76, because otherwise you would have been very pregnant with me.
yeah, it was probably the year before.
Winter 75, I mean. Winter 76, she would have been very pregnant with you.
75, 76.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, that
Okay.
winter, the 75,
Okay.
76.
Yeah, and so that's how I got on at the phone company
Mm.
and worked there for like ever.
So you started at the phone company before you had me?
Yes.
I was
Yes.
never sure about that.
Yeah, I want to say, yeah, because I worked for Peter Pisk, and then I went to work for the phone company, and then I had you. And so then we were in Kalispell and did the 3rd Avenue West, because I used to walk over to the phone company.
And but where did you guys live when I was born? Because I remember living in the house on 3rd Avenue West. I remember moving in there. We had lived in. I don't know where you guys lived when I was born. We went to Helena when I was 3.5.
And that was just, I took a leave of absence.
Because that wasn't all that long of a time.
We were
period.
only gone, like, Dad worked for Pizza Hut, and he got transferred. And so I went over it, and then when I came back, we lived in the brownstone,
Yeah.
and I got my job back at the phone company. And I was only out like 6 months, 8 months, something like that.
We weren't in Helena over the winter.
No, it was a fall, a spring, summer, fall kind of, just
Yeah.
6 or 8 months. And it wasn't,
So Adrian was born in Kalispell as well.
yes.
So that would have had to have been the summer of 80. Spring, summer, fall of 80.
And that was up on the north side. Because I was pregnant in the house on, what is that, 3rd? Up by the fairgrounds. Oh, and because the house,
I think you're talking about a different house on 3rd Avenue than the one I'm thinking of. I'm
No,
thinking of
third-
the brown one where I shot Adrian with the hot
okay, that is a different house. And it's, maybe it's 3rd and 5th. I get the two,
3rd, 5th, and 7th.
yeah, there was 3.
It was 5th. because
5th.
I remember 3rd and 7th.
Okay, because 5th is the one by the fairgrounds up north.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, and we were just kind of in that area, and then we moved to Alaska. Well, after 3rd.
Yeah, we went 3rd, and you were at the phone company. I remember Dad doing all kinds of stuff. He did the fishing tackle. He did the.
He worked
wood.
for Snappy Sports. He did
Yeah, he
all
was
sorts of stuff.
Doing something with the Forest Service, clearing out former logging clear cuts.
Yeah, he had a contract to clear. I think he worked with George Garr,
On that, yeah.
and they had a contract to clear land.
It was. They thinned out former logging areas so that the new trees growing in wouldn't grow too close together, it
Right.
would allow the trees to grow bigger, faster, so they go in and clear out the underbrush.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Just kind of a job, but
Mhm.
it worked. You know, money's money.
And
Right.
he worked at the version of Snappy Sports Center in Whitefish for a while. That was in the mall.
He worked for Payless in Juneau for a little bit once. Payless Drug, I remember that.
Was that before the Empire?
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, Star Wars, the
Oh.
Empire.
Oh,
Yeah. Because
it wasn't long.
we were up, we went to Alaska. He was still at Snappy's. You were doing your thing. We lived in the Ocnu condos.
Yep.
He came up. I don't know what he did before.
He worked for Payless because he had retail experience. So he went retail when he got to Alaska.
And then he went to the newspaper.
He went to the newspaper selling advertising.
So we were there from 87, and you guys left in 96?
Not 96.
And you were with the phone company the whole time.
Oh, the whole time.
So it was Ocnu condos when we first moved there. We had the duplex on Taku
Boulevard for a year.
And then we moved
To Glacier Wood.
And that was the majority of the time.
Yeah. And then when we moved back down, we
The Frisco Apartments in Springfield.
oh yes, the drug dealer apartments.
Yeah.
We were a year in the drug dealer apartments.
A
We used
year?
to hide in Aaron and Adrian and I, because Dad worked security.
I wasn't there.
You didn't come down. It was Adrian and I. Adrian and I used to hide. The windows were higher, and we'd peek out the windows and watch the drug dealers across the street selling drugs. I mean, it was not a good place, but
I actually got them a car alarm for their truck while I was
Yes.
still in Alaska because they kept getting broken into.
well,
Papa would leave stuff in it.
yeah. Brand new basketball kicks and a basketball in the ghetto, and not lock the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the smartest thing in the world.
No.
I had an old brown nasty Dodge car. First thing I did, I opened the glove boxes, I opened the windows, I left the car wide open, and I walked in the house. There was nothing in it to steal, and it was butt ugly. So I didn't have to worry about it.
So you just left it available so that way no windows got broken. or
No,
anything?
don't break my windows. There's nothing in here. Look all you want. There isn't even a dime. You're not going to get nothing. So why burglar me? But
And you guys still were living there when I came down in 97.
yeah, because we had a 1-year lease, and then we could move.
And you guys bought the place on, you started renting the place on
On
Wilding.
Court. And we rented there for quite a while before we bought.
And I moved in there for a short while.
Just a little while. Because then you moved down by the university.
Yeah, that picture.
Yeah. And,
And then you guys were in that house until you went to Wyoming.
yeah, we still have that house. So. But, and Dad went to school and did the Midwest security thing, and then he did the counseling. He worked with Brian, and then he had his own business. And
Now, when you first came to Springfield, before you started with Life Publishers, you were working for a podiatrist? Didn't you?
oh yeah, for about 4 months. That was like the starty job.
Yeah, get a job so you can have a paycheck for a little bit.
But I wanted to go to work for AG because Dad got like half off his tuition.
Gotcha.
So I purposely targeted
Any job at AG.
any job at AG because that was a bigger benefit than money.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I could do better, and I got benefits. I mean, the salary. Well, and I was blessed. My boss believed in paying people. AG doesn't. I mean, most people who work at AG make $9-10 an hour. They get benefits, but they don't make any money.
Right.
And they can work there for 40 years at $9 or $10 an hour. I mean, that's the way they do it. But my boss didn't believe in that. He believed that it was worth paying somebody, and you got what you paid for.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot more money, and he always had to justify it. So I was really blessed with that.
Well, you had to travel all over the place.
I got to go everywhere, and that was really fun.
So,
Except getting pickpocketed in Turkey.
You didn't tell me that story.
We were in a cab, and you would Turkey. Where we were at in Istanbul, you take a ferry.
Okay.
It's the divide between Europe and Asia.
We learned that yesterday in our trivia game.
Yeah. And so you take the ferry over to the different places.
I actually knew that it was a gateway, but the way the question was worded, I was thinking the only.
Sure.
Yeah, there are bridges, but there's ferries too. And I like it because I grew up in Seattle.
Yeah.
And so I like ferries. So we got off to go on the ferry, and the guys I was with, I think I was with Edgar and somebody, I can't remember. We got out of the ferry, got out of the cab, and I kind of tripped just a little bit as I stepped up on the curb. Well, I got bumped, and my iPhone was in the outside pocket of my purse, and it was gone. Just in a heartbeat, it was gone. And I took one step, realized what had happened, yelled at Edgar to stop. We called the office, and she shut it down before, it was like a minute and a half.
Wow.
Before it was shut down.
Yeah.
Now, whether they started it again, I don't know. I didn't lose any money, but I lost my company iPhone,
right,
which I hated.
So where was your first overseas trip with life?
First.
Well, I know you went to Turkey. I know you went to United Arab Emirates.
Yeah, I went to Turkey. I went to UAE. I went to I think it was Romania. I went Romania and Hungary.
I think that was the one I was not all that thrilled about you going to.
I liked it. Hungary is really cool. Very European. The only thing about Romania, lots of gypsies. So you have to really be careful, because if you're going to get pickpocketed, the shopkeepers kept special brooms inside their door to shoo the kids out. The Romani think that if you're stupid enough to get stolen from, you're stupid enough to deserve it. Period. That's just their mindset. And so you have to be careful. But then I went to Germany. I went to Hong Kong. I went to China.
Notice how she separates Hong Kong and China there.
Well, two different locations.
They were separate. They're not now, but they were when I went.
Yeah.
So I got to go a lot of fun places. Lots of fun places. I would have liked to gone. We were going to go to Pakistan, but there was an uprising
That's the one I told you I didn't want you to
I
go.
know. I wanted to go. I had a friend there that she would have babysat me. Because she'd been there for 6 to 8 years. She knew what to do. But it worked out. It was not. There's dangerous and there's stupid.
Yeah.
And that would have been stupid. It was better for us to pay for them to come to us than for us to try to go to them. And it gave them perks too. It was a great group of guys. These guys, if you could ever meet them, they are dedicated and sincere, and nothing scares them. They know they could get blown up at any moment. And they say, God has called us to do that. This is what we're doing. If it happens, it happens. There's nothing we can do about it. But meeting with them and working with them, and these guys are brilliant. There was a linguist from the university, a couple translators. There was a classical language expert. These guys could have done anything, anywhere. And so, yeah, it was probably as far as people, probably my favorite place to go. The little place we met was in UAE, but it was run by the Koreans.
Oh, really?
The Koreans had sent a group over. It was a study center. And so they could study anything.
Yeah.
But they had a big library and they opened it up. And so it was just very cross-cultural. And so that was cool.
So which was your favorite country to visit?
Depends on why. If you were going for a visit, I'd go to Germany. It's very German. Everything runs well, works well, very polite, very clean and tidy, very organized.
Sounds wonderful.
You would love it. I mean, like going down the highway, there's big banks on both sides of the Autobahn that are tall, like 15 feet tall, because it keeps the noise from going to the town.
Gotcha.
All the, like, tickets, it's all automated. There aren't, you have to, like, crash and burn if you want to see a policeman, because otherwise they just take your picture and you get a ticket in the mail. Funniest place I ever was, though, because Edgar put gas in a diesel car. Yes. And so we had to wait quite a while.
Where was that?
In Germany.
Germany?
And what was funny is that we always tried to have like one down day to do something touristy, not work one day.
Yeah.
We never took a lot of time, but a day. And this was our day to go to the castle and see Germany things. Of course, we got the wrong gas. And you'd have to know, we had a guy, his name was Bill Williams, very European. He was in Europe. And so very proper, suit, tie, I mean, fancy guy. And so we get there, and they want to give us a van, like a commercial van.
A lorry?
Well, kind of, yeah. Did not go over well because it was not proper. So then they gave us this itsy bitsy citron thing. Well, Edgar's 6'4".
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. And so, and 4 suitcases in this itsy bitsy car that we're trying to smash in. That's the other place. They smashed my suitcase because the guys were getting it in the car.
Oh my goodness.
That's why I always carry duct tape, because you never know what you got to put together. So anyway, in this car that's falling apart and not working is the one we put the wrong gas in. And I remember Penny and I sitting in the back seat saying, we're not going to talk. We're not going to talk. There's just no reason to say anything at all. Just shush. Well, and here we are. We're parked right next to the train depot, because you parked there and you walked up to the castle. And I thought, well, that's fun. We'll just call the rental car company, tell them to come and get it, and we'll pick up a new one when we're back in town, and we'll ride the train in. Because I thought the train would be fun. And that didn't work either. We don't ride the train. We're fancy.
You're above the train.
We're above the train. We're above the train. So we just kept our mouth shut, and they brought us an equally nasty car. But you would have loved in Germany, you would have loved the hotel by the airport. Tiny. You know, the whole tiny house movement? This was like a ship. You walked in the little door, and everything opened like the desk folded down and folded back up, and the bed folded down, and the bathroom opened up. I mean, it was tiny, but it worked perfectly. And so it's very German. Now, probably the worst place we stayed was in the resort in Romania.
I don't put those two words together.
Resort in Romania?
Yeah.
There was lots of mosquitoes. So if you open the windows, they all came in. And I remember hitting with the towel and covering the wall with splats. I mean, it was bad. Penny's air conditioner went, and they had to have the fire guy come and turn it off.
Because of the mosquitoes?
We don't know why. It could have been bad electrical.
Okay.
So there are third world. The Philippines. I've been to the Philippines. Mm. They had the monkeys that threw poop.
Yeah, I wasn't all that thrilled about you going there either.
Well, it was even funnier though. We walked down this little street to get from where the little hotel rooms were to the conference center. Mm-hmm. And about the third or fourth day, we're waiting for somebody. I can't remember who we were waiting for. And Penny's leaning against this fence. And it's one of those things I kind of had to say something. I said, "You may not want to stand right there." And she said, "Why?" I said, "Because behind that fence is filled with rats." I mean, they were like everywhere. And she did the and jumped away from the fence. I can deal rats don't bother me. Throwing poop monkeys bother me.
Yeah.
I'm not a monkey person. I mean, but it was a resort too. It had a pool and people went there for, like, school kids went there. I suppose if you live with that, it doesn't matter, but yeah. Philippines is definitely third world. That you would have loved the internet cafe. We had to walk down the street to get internet, and the wires hung down from the ceiling of this little closet-y building.
Definitely not German.
Definitely opposite of German. And you're always afraid of the, because you never know when the power's going to do weird, funky things, or you have to beat on something. And, it was interesting.
Wow.
So very, very different places. But
how was that mentality in Hong Kong and Beijing, for example? I mean, was it more German-esque, organized, professional, clean, or was it more Philippines, dirty, kind of thrown together?
Hong Kong, more sophisticated. There are parts of Hong Kong that are so high class, you can't imagine. We walked, there was a mall that went down the waterfront. Mm-hmm. We walked in just because we were just walking. This little black purse was $942 US. It was some brand.
Designer,
right.
Yeah.
And there's like 5 in this. The whole store has like 5, and $1,000 shoes and $1,500 dresses, and we kind of went, okay, we're out of here.
Wow.
So, but other parts, if you get in the back, like we walked up, we had a warehouse in Hong Kong, and if you walked up the hill and kind of back, it was down the alley, and we were storing Bibles in this warehouse, so we were kind of being covert. And it was just like some downtown American little apartments and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So you kind of had both in Hong Kong, more toward the rich side than the not rich side.
Yeah.
Now, when you went over into China, if you took the ferry over into China, way much more toward the low end.
Gotcha.
There were high end, there were high end. When you're in Hong Kong, you see Maseratis, Lamborghinis, Mercedes, chauffeurs. You get your tailored suits. You get that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You get into China and it's more normal people working.
Gotcha.
People walking to work,
Mm-hmm.
We went to the Forbidden City, touristy kind of thing. We went to the Great Wall of China, which was really sad. Oh, I went to Israel too.
Just keeps adding places to the list.
I did. The Great Wall was sad because they turned it into a tourist thing.
Oh.
The place closest to Beijing, that you could get to,
Yeah.
up the stairs there'd be people selling stuff,
Oh.
and like in like at a parking area, there'd be people. There was a lady and a guy with a camel, and you could pay to ride the camel.
Just don't think of Chinese camels.
I know. They were enthralled with Penny's blonde hair. I thought I was going to get arrested in Beijing. I really did. Because the gal came up and grabbed Penny. Well, she started to hyperventilate.
Well, yeah.
And so I stepped in
Penny
between and
doesn't
pushed
do.
and said, that's not going to happen. I mean, that's as far as we went.
Right.
But when you're overseas, you never know.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, some people have automatic weapons.
Well, and some people wouldn't mind taking advantage of dumb American tourists.
Exactly. So you just don't. So you have to be vigilant. But it was sad that here is this centuries old thing, and they're like anybody else, they're trying to make money. But yeah.
So,
Oh, Bangkok. I was in Thailand 3 times. Yeah, I've been lots of places. Bangkok is kind of in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting more and more where Bangkok's becoming like the medical business thing for the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because doctors can build clinics and stuff in Bangkok for lots less money, and people will go there and pay half of what they would pay someplace else. And they're not bad. You have to think about it different. Medicine overseas is much more personally directive. You take someone, they direct your care, they tell the doctors what you want. It's not like the U.S. where they drive you.
gotcha.
But a lot of the AG missionaries, they all go to Bangkok if they need medical stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is Ying from?
Bangkok?
She is from? I thought she was from further north.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chiang Mai or something.
It's my baby brother's wife.
She's Thai.
She's Thai? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thailand is middle. I would say middle. Because, there's dogs on the street and there's stuff, but it's not bad. You just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of Israel? Where were you? Were you in Jerusalem, or were you?
I went to Jerusalem. We flew into Tel Aviv. Went to Haifa. We did our meeting and training up in Haifa. We got to go to a Druze village, which is not Arab, not Israel. It's in the middle. It's like
Everybody just get along, kind of in the middle.
Kinda.
If everybody would look at these guys.
Yeah, it's fun. The Druze village, they're very traditional, and they wear, it's not a habib, but it's kind of a gown, but they'd have like red sparkly tennis shoes. So they had fun with it. And it's different to be in a place where everybody has weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, because, and these guys, the Israelis are young. They're probably 16, 17 when they're in the army.
It's mandatory military service.
It is, and they're young.
Government service.
Right.
And some of the rules are just plain stupid. I'm sorry. On Sabbath, you can't push a button on the elevator. It stops on every floor. It's work. You can't work on the Sabbath. You can't.
Working would be walking up the stairs.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't. There's certain things. Food is separated. Like, you can't have meat and cheese. But it's okay if McDonald's is here and the dairy store is here and you go out of one and into the other.
So they don't have cheeseburgers?
No, you can't. No, cheese does not go with meat. Not at all.
Interesting.
No, there's all sorts of rules about everything. And so you have to be careful.
Wow. What happens if you break a rule?
Well, being a Goya didn't matter to us, but if you were Hasidic Jew, it would be somebody would come and tell you you're doing it wrong.
You're going to hell.
You're going to hell. You're eating meat with your cheese. Which is funny because just this morning the part I read and I sent to Dad says Paul's writing about, don't listen to people who tell you not to do things because all things made by God are good, And
I like that rule.
Really, that's what basically that's what the whole passage said, and I'm thinking they got it wrong way early, way early. Jerusalem is weird. You think ancient, and like the hill of Golgotha, it's got cell towers on it. It was kind of depressing. Mm-hmm. I thought it was kind of depressing. And you walk around the corner to where the tomb is, and it's like a museum. Mm. I mean, some group has kept it, but you get this idea, and it's not like that.
Right.
And like when you go into the old city, and you walk down the road, there's shops of every kind, Arab and Israeli and whatever. It's like an outdoor market.
A pet mall kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. Everybody has. I mean, it's kind of cool because there was like spice market and bread and I mean that and stuff. You could buy all sorts of stuff. But when you got to the Wailing Wall, that was a little odd because you walk down this ramp and the guys go down one side and the ladies go down another. And it's all about stuffing your prayers in the wall. And every night they come and collect them and put them somewhere. But it's like, it's not that God can't hear you if you don't write it on the paper and stick it in the wall.
Right.
And right up on top of you have the Wailing Wall, and right up on the wall there's the Dome of the Rock. Mm-hmm. So it's all...
That's what I find interesting about Jerusalem is because you have the Christian aspect, the Jewish aspect, the Muslim aspect, and it's all...
And all sorts of weird things, and then you throw the Catholics in too, and it was odd. And everybody has their own tradition. Like, when we were there was a whole group of dancey people. I don't know what they were dancing for, but dancey people. And other people that, would be the Jewish bow to the wall 942 times. And I don't understand it all. But because Dad and we believe so relationally that it's not do this or do that. Mm. It's a relationship. That was the whole point when you read the Bible is the whole point is God being in relationship to man. That's what he wanted. And so all of that is kind of silly. Not that I would tell people with automatic weapons that, but yeah, probably of all the things in life that I did, getting to go places was... I don't know if I'd do it again. I told Adrian that. I've been enough places and seen enough things. I told her probably the only place I'd ever want to go now would be Scotland and Ireland. Because it's so different. Mm-hmm. And it's more personal history. Because other than German, Scotch-Irish is where my family comes from.
Yeah.
But that would just be for fun. And a big sweatshirt because it's kind of cold.
It is cold and wet.
Yeah.
Like Alaska.
It's a lot. Basically, that's it.
Uh-huh.
That's it. Somebody said Brussels is a lot like that. It's European cold, wet.
Right.
Same general latitude.
It is all the way across. But I don't think we'd ever spend the money to do that. It's very, very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Now Ireland is very up and coming right now, business wise. Lots of advertising, lots of tech stuff, lots of very yuppie.
Gotcha.
Well, they better speed it up if they want to catch up to the Indians and Georgians.
Yeah, but it's different. They have a closer Western mindset. Oh, I almost got to go to Georgia, but there was tanks.
Yeah.
We didn't go to Georgia. I had tickets.
Ukrainian as well.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting a lot of input from the former Eastern
Bloc.
and India with its tech boom.
Yeah, India's kind of like that. I would just wish I'd learned better English. It's aggravating. I'm not saying they can't do it, and I'm not saying they're not smart enough, but you have to work on your accent. You have to be able to communicate. And Dad gets so mad because tech companies, he called somebody once. I wasn't home. It was a disaster. They were going to fix his, he had trouble with his computer. He went online and he hired some Indian dude. And I'm thinking, why did you do that? Don't do that. Don't do that. So now they call like every 3 months. Can we fix your computer? We fixed your computer last month. Well, it was 6 years ago, but go away. And if he has to call tech support somewhere and they're in India, he'll hang up on him. For one thing, he has trouble with accents.
He always has.
Yeah, he has. It's a thing. He couldn't talk to the Ozark Wood guy.
No.
I had to go talk to him because
it doesn't matter what the accent is. Dad has a hard time processing the language.
yeah. I do okay until they say something dumb, and then I give up. But yeah. Oh, did I drop it on the floor?
I don't know what it is.
It's the little